Social media promotes a knowledgeable society. Me and my partner Grace disagree. Social media in no way creates a knowledgeable society. We would have to say it would actually create a less knowledgeable society. People always say sarcastically, it's on the internet so it has to be true. And we all say this as a joke because we all know how much false information is spread through social media. As social networking sites continue to grow more popular and users spend increasing amounts of time online, some experts warn that this is leading to people becoming isolated from each other. This is the perspective of Eric Sigman, a British psychologist and author of February 2009 report titled Well Connected, The Biological Implications of Social Networking. Sigman cites studies of British citizens that show a correlation between greater use of internet and a decline in communication among family members and friends. This has led to depression and loneliness for those who have isolated themselves from real-life interaction, as Sigman writes. They went on to report both social disengagement and worsening of mood, and limited face-to-face interaction, poor quality of life, and diminished physical and psychological health. If the information we are gathering on social media is leading to poor communication skills and diminished psychological health, I would have to say that this is not a knowledgeable and informed society. Social media was not made to inform society. It was made to connect with friends. The mass media was made to inform society. So I'm having a hard time thinking how social media could create an informed society, let alone a well-informed society, as the prompt says. Social media was made more for just status updates. It wasn't really made for news. A quote from Janelle Ronza, a journalist who lives in Los Angeles, said, "We have entered a new age of excess. We're turning toward an overabundance of blather in form of an insipid status update, overposting of photos, overliking of posts, and self-important drivel about what color socks we plan to wear and what brand of ketchup we prefer on our fries." So the social media isn't really giving us a lot of information. It's mostly status updates, like I said. My partner Grace will elaborate on how information on social media is biased. The information is always factual, and there's so much out there it's hard to discern what you truly believe. Stand for the crossbar. Hey Joe, you said how the social media would help with like breaking news. It spreads faster, but I think the breaking news would be able to spread just as quick through mass media.
Do you think? How do you think so? Because like the news isn't on 24/7, but anytime, any hour, you can get on social media and
you can also get on the news website.
Yeah, but it's easier to update a status than it is to update a website, I would think.
I mean, you can think that.
Okay. Well, do you think mass media informs people?
Yeah.
Well, there's countless mass media that have social media accounts that constantly update their accounts to give you up-to-date news.
Yeah.
What do you think about this?
I think that would kind of be a gray area, whereas mass media is kind of merging in with social media. Is it still mass media, or is it social media at that point?
Well, it would be a mass media thing, but it's on a social media account, so it wouldn't be a gray area. It's definitely social media that they're using. They're using social media to broadcast their news, to send it out to millions of people.
But on the whole like retrospective thing, it's like a mass media account that's running it. So the information is coming from like a mass media, like news corporation.
Okay, I get what you're saying, but any person that knows any news, they could see something happen, or even like say like someone that follows sports, they could tweet out a sports score, and that would instantly go out to thousands of people.
Yeah, you could have the ESPN app, and it would give you alerts, and then that would be mass media.
Okay, well, you said something about how social media doesn't communicate with each other.
Oh, it makes it diminishes your like ability, because I mean, we don't always use proper grammar when we're doing that stuff.
Okay, I get that, but that doesn't have any effect on a well-informed society. Maybe not.
If a society doesn't even know how to communicate, I would have to say it's not a well-informed society.
Maybe they can't communicate, but they can at least get information. So you don't think that social media accounts that tweet news, that's not beneficial to informing a society?
Yeah, I mean, it's beneficial, but I don't know if that was social media or mass media. Like you said, if they tweet news. I mean, I think mass media sites, they're the ones that tweet news.
So by tweeting news and getting information from the tweets, people aren't receiving information from these tweets?
Yeah, they are, but is it social media or mass media?
Okay.
I got another thing. You said, like, the thing about when we killed Osama bin Laden. Another thing about breaking news. Minutes later, Obama had, like, a live speech about it. So I don't know how big of an effect social media took into place.
I don't know. I just think that hours before like an official news came out, people were still like debating, or not debating, but talking about it on Twitter or Facebook. They're saying, oh, Bin Laden is dead. Like, this man is dead. We've been searching for this man. So I just think that millions of people already knew about it before like an official news, like a news station or like a mass media thing came out and said that he's dead.
Can I ask you, what is an informed society?
I would just say an informed society is like a society that's filled with people that knows what's going on and up to date with current events, stuff like that.
Can I continue? Or like a follow-up after that? All right.
Ready? Hi, my name is Stephanie Mills. To begin with, I want to thank Mr. Naylor for giving us this opportunity to speak and for all of you for listening. All right, so you've already heard my partner, Joey, explain how social media allows news to travel at extremely fast rates. And hopefully you're beginning to see how social media, if used correctly, can do great things for a society. I'll be explaining several more reasons why social media creates a well-informed society. First of all, social media is an amazing platform for people to see many sides of a topic or current event. It's also a great way for people to be able to voice their opinions. Think about this. If you're watching a news segment on TV, you will most likely hear the opinions of one or maybe two news anchors. Even if they are two people of opposing views, this is still a limited take on the event. But on social media, people can voice their opinions so that others can read and consider what other people have to say. A news source can post an article on a form of social media, and people can then voice what they have to say about it. Other readers can then read these comments and be opened to other perspectives. When discussion is sparked, people want to know the facts and are likely to become more informed due to follow-up after the started discussion. Moving on, social media allows people to have easy access to what's going on all around the world. With information like this available at our fingertips, how wouldn't this create a more well-informed society? We are able to pull out our phones and see what is happening on the other side of the world within seconds. Anyone is able to see what's happening in other countries and compare it to events in ours. A senior research project done by students at the University of Rhode Island titled The Impact of Social Media on Intercultural Adaptation, showed that people tend to use social media now to become more integrated into the culture of their new country while allowing them to maintain connections to their home countries. Social media has proved to be an amazing way to break the barriers of borders and language. People can easily virtually jump into another country and learn what's happening. We can expand our horizons in ways never imagined. Lastly, I want you to consider the audience that social media reaches. The Pew Research Center estimates that about 7 in 10 people use some form of social media. In 2005, only about 5% of people in the United States use social media. In 2011, this raised to 50% of America. And by November of 2016, an estimated 70% of our population used social media. Now let's break it down even more and look at the age groups. About 86% of people ages 18 to 25 use social media. Now let me ask you this. How many 18-year-olds do you know that regularly read the newspaper? Probably not that many. While teenagers might join social media to just keep in touch with their friends or to make new friends, it is inevitable that they will eventually run into pages devoted to facts or even news sources with social media pages. Leslie Hughes, a 7th grade English teacher, said, "In the hallways of Middle School 447 in Brooklyn, talk of gay rights and President Trump's executive order on immigration has replaced chatter about the Kardashians or Beyonce or somebody's new sneakers." Kids are starting to get more involved with the current events of our world, and a large part of that is because of social media. Our opponents may say that information you gather on media isn't always correct, and I can't disagree with that. No matter what you've heard, you can't believe everything you see online. But here's what I have to say to this. Just like you would with any other story, you have to come at it thinking about the credibility of the source and the likelihood of the story actually happening. And social media is a great place to do some cross-referencing. All right, I'll wrap it up by simply restating our main points. Social media allows news to travel at a rapid pace. It's an amazing platform for people to voice and hear opposing opinions. It gives you the easy ability to know news about the other side of the world. And it reaches a demographic broader than ever before. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Grace Mazzara, and I'd like to thank my partner Ryan, my opponents, and Mr. Naylor for this opportunity and debate topic. To recap, my partner Ryan and I do not think that social media creates a well-informed society because information obtained from social media is incredibly biased, it's not always factual, and therefore you have to vet through information, and there is so much of it nowadays, the task of verifying the information becomes almost impractical. Let's start by talking about the internet itself. It's a wonderful thing. It's a window to anything that you want to know. But contrary to popular belief, your search history is not private in the least. Cookie technology allows websites to customize content to the viewer without them even realizing it. Those pop-up ads that come up on Twitter and Facebook that just happen to coincide with your political views or show you remedies for a cold that you just Googled are no coincidence. You can even block ads and notifications that you don't agree with or just don't even want to see from your social media feed. This shields even more information from you. Speaking of Twitter and Facebook, these sites can also play a role in statistics that scientists gather, but there's a problem with that. This is just one of many examples of how biases are a problem in social media. Jorgen Pfeffer of Carnegie Mellon University said in an interview with Forbes that scientists are treating the wealth of data gathered by social networks of what people are thinking, but they're not correcting the data for inherent biases. This means that information that you Google, that you look up, can be false. Which leads me to my next point, that information posted on social media sites is not always factual. Now, some people could say that you can still find reliable informational sources through social media. That can be true, but it is a lot more difficult when the primary focus of social media is not the spread of information. Juliet McEwen of the National Association of Sales Professionals states that the true purpose of social media is for storytelling, engagement, and relationships. And when we use it for how it's meant to be used, it creates a world of difference. That being said, social media has its ways of informing you, certainly, but they're not focused on what the information says, rather that it just gets to you quickly. How many times have you personally seen a statistic on a social media site that had a certain set of results, only to have it contradicted by another separate post a few moments later? I, for one, would care that the information I seek is true or not. My final point is this. There is so much information out there on social media sites that we are bombarded with on a daily basis that it takes so much time to verify if something is what it says it is. Like I said, what good is information if it's not factual? In the technological age that we live in, we don't have to wonder. Why would we? We can just look at this link on Twitter with the push of a button. George Skelton of the Los Angeles Times says that in an article, Are Social Networking Sites Good for Society?, that there is no time for serious thinking or boning up on substance. Social media nurtures short attention spans and impersonal behavior. Because we want the answers so quickly, people tend to not take the time to see if what is being put into people's heads is legitimate or not. In conclusion, it's nearly impossible to think that social media creates a well-informed society. Social media sites are incredibly biased, are not always truthful, and because of this, it is very hard to verify that the information being handed to you through your phone or computer is correct. I highly encourage you to not listen to the articles about politics from the same social media site where you can take a quiz to figure out what type of cheese you are based on your personality.
All right. So just because something is biased doesn't mean it's false.
Not incredibly, but In my personal experience with, especially since the recent election, when people see views that don't coincide with theirs, yes, they are informed, but it just incites more anger and a more firm belief in what they already believe in. So I just think that the spread of social media and mass news that way just incites anger and an even firmer belief in what they already believe.
Okay. So then, now you think, you'd say social media is like more biased or more incorrect than like other news sources? What exactly news
Definitely not more biased than news sources. Like everything has a bias, and you just have to decide what your side is. But it's definitely, in my opinion, more. What was the other word that you used? More not factual. Was that the other
Something
word
like
that you
that,
used?
yeah.
Yeah. I just know that whenever I see something on social media, I'm like, what? What's that? And then you automatically go to the internet, to a reliable source, to see if that's actually correct.
So don't
like-
you think that still helps then inform people? Because you begin to see it off social media, and it sparks your interest, and then you start to grow it from there. As opposed to if it didn't have social media, you wouldn't have even seen it from the beginning.
I agree that it does spread it faster.
Okay.
And speaking of that, just in your opinion, does faster news mean better news?
No, I don't think it makes the news better, but I think it can be very helpful. If something huge is going on, then you can see it quickly and keep up to date. As they learn more facts and can post them on social media very quickly, you can, again, like keep up with it faster than, like, as Joe said, like waiting for the newspaper every morning.
Okay, I see that. But what about the people that don't have social media, like older people or people without like children or grandchildren or anything, or just people who aren't as involved or don't care to be involved in the social media?
Well, that's why, we still have newspapers and TVs and things like that. But I think with social media, as I said before, the teacher that I quoted realized that her 7th graders were starting to talk about current events, not just whatever was happening. So it's opening it up more to who's getting involved with the news. And I think it all around is creating a more well-informed society.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Naylor, do we take the mics or no?
Probably would be easier if you guys just helped.
Just ask them. They keep talking about the legitimacy.
Guys ready? Let's get started. You guys, bro, you can have the first question.
Interesting.
Hi. Would you consider CNN's Twitter page social media?
Yes.
Okay. Maybe I shouldn't have. Okay, and Now, so you've been saying that social media is less legitimate than other news. What exactly makes social media less legitimate?
I think it's just the stigma attached to it, that it's just, like, it's on a social media site, and because, like, if it were, for example, on Twitter, that's only 140 characters to condense, like, probably something really big if it's, like, really super informational news. So I feel like it's just not.
A professional news site is definitely more legitimate than Joe Schmo on his Twitter account, just tweeting stuff.
But back
Because
to
you
your
don't know
question,
who's
so you
posting the
said-
information.
So you said it's the stigma around social media that makes it less legitimate, not actually what's on it?
The stigma is definitely a large part of it, and sometimes just people can be more skeptical if it comes from a social media site.
Okay. So the stigma around it changes the facts on it?
Not necessarily. No, I wouldn't say.
Okay.
Can I just ask again, what is an informed society? What do you guys think that would have to be?
You want to answer?
Sure.
Okay.
I would just say an informed society is like a society full of people that are educated and, I don't know, like up to date on the politics of the country and like around the world for that matter, and just what's going on in the world.
So would an informed society know how the economy is going, how the stock market is, or how our armed forces are doing, or what went in Congress today? Would that be part of an informed society?
Yeah, I would say so. That could be a part of it.
Do you get on social media to find out this information?
Not necessarily, but we can find up to date news stuff like what's going on in today's world by just logging on Twitter and looking at CNN's Twitter page. We might not be able to find specifically what you're talking about, but we definitely can find information that
So
would.
if you can't find specifically,
Well, I'm just talking about the things you listed. I'm not talking. I think you could find out about how the stock market is doing probably, and I'm not sure exactly what else you said, but I'm sure you could find some things on there.
you also said that social media reaches a large demographic, but does cable news not reach a large demographic?
How many teenagers watch Fox News and CNN? I
How
think a
many
lot more
parents do?
teachers are on that.
How many parents do? Everybody? Everybody probably above 25?
Watching, like, the news?
Yeah.
Not
Most
really.
people above 25.
I mean, we've seen the numbers, like, the vast majority is on social media. And I think
Of-
it's a lot, I mean, it's a lot easier to pull out your phone than to
Was that
pull
the
out a
vast
TV.
majority of like teenagers or like the whole entire community?
I mean, as the one statistic I said, I mean, 70%, so, yeah, United States, like, citizens, yeah.
Did that say it was the 70% teenagers or did it have?
I have the breakdown on here if you'd like me to pull it up. Do you
No,
want
it's
that?
not worth
Okay.
it.
Do you want to ask about
Yeah.
Oh, we already did.
I just have some. Okay, Ryan, you said about how like information from CNN opposed to Joe Schmo is less legitimate, and I can agree with that for sure, but you don't have to take information from Joe Schmo. There's like actual accounts on Twitter that are verified. Say like CNN will have a verified account, or there's like a news reporter that would have a verified account that can tweet out information like just like that, and then it can inform many people.
Could that be biased information?
Just because it's biased, is it false?
What do you mean? Could it be biased?
Could it?
Like any news that I could watch could be biased. Any newspaper article I could read could be biased.
Yeah.
And just because it's biased doesn't mean like if there's facts attached to it doesn't change the facts.
Well, in the words of Benjamin Franklin, half a truth is often a great lie. So, I mean, if it's not 100%,
And what's the good of
Benjamin Franklin says it's a lie. And he's a
Well,
pretty
I'm-
powerful man.
Just because it's biased doesn't mean there's a lie. Just because if they have an opinion towards something doesn't mean something is not
Yeah,
the truth.
I didn't say it. That was Benjamin Franklin.
Okay. Well,
I have a question. So would you agree that there is a lot of information on the internet?
yeah, I could agree with that.
And whenever you have a question, you can, like you said, look it up or go to social media.
Yeah.
And whenever you find the answer, do you take the time to verify whether it is correct or not?
I think you should. I mean, that's
But
smart
does
to
everyone?
do. No, but then again, does everyone keep up with the news? No. But I think social media, the cool thing about that is so many people are on it for other reasons, but then see headlines and become interested to where without it, they wouldn't have even seen it from the first place.
True as that may be, yeah, you are
All right,
correct.
thank you.
Exactly.
All right, we're going to go under just a couple of seconds to get things right so we can hit this period.
Like how she was saying how social media,
All right, first side, you guys ready?
As our opposition has stated, they believe that social media isn't a legitimate form of obtaining news. However, they accepted mass media, but have yet to realize that all social media, not all social media, but most social media has mass media accounts attached to them. So any news that would be through mass media is just going on social media. With that being said, social media's diverse platforms can give people, I'm sorry. Thanks to social media's diverse platforms, people can quickly and efficiently view content about their region or from around the world about influencers and decision makers in their societies. They can participate in online petitions, join groups, and talk to like-minded people on Facebook, contribute to debate on Twitter, report an injustice on Instagram, or share videos and podcasts on YouTube. Social media fosters a sense of ownership and responsibility, and people can engage directly, not just as individuals, but as a part of a community in their own personal way. With that being said, we do believe social media creates a well-informed society.
My partner and I stand firm in the fact that social media absolutely does not create a well-informed society. Information gathered through social media is not completely factual. It has an incredible amount of bias, and there is so much information on our social media sites that it's hard and time-consuming to see if what's coming up on your feed is correct. We all deserve the truth. If we blindly believe everything we see on social media without looking it up, what happens to the truth? What's fact? What's opinion? Are you right? Does that make me wrong? Social media does not create a well-informed society. In fact, what it does create is a society that is confused, misguided, and overwhelmed.
All right. So we'll try to take a little informal poll here. We won't count up the numbers or anything, but just by a show of hands, how many people would side with the pro side that Information gathered from social media creates a well-informed society. How many people side with the con side after this? Keep in mind, they just came in about 3 minutes ago, but. Hey, thanks for coming down and being a good audience, everybody. We'll start the other one here in just a couple of seconds.